There is a moment, a very specific moment that decides whether you win or lose her. It is not when she finally texts you back. It is not when she shows up. It is not the conversation you two will eventually have. It is the moment right after she goes silent. That moment, what you do in those first hours, first day, that is the moment most men lose everything. Not because she stopped caring, but because they made the wrong move. And tonight, I am going to show you exactly what that wrong move is, and more importantly, the smart move that very few men ever figure out. Stay with me. Before we get into the psychology, I want you to hold on to one idea. There is a specific emotional shift that happens inside a woman's mind when a man stops behaving the way she expected. I am going to show you exactly what triggers that shift, how long it takes, and what you should be doing during that window. We will get to that. But first you need to understand why the standard reaction destroys you every single time. Picture this. A man meets a woman. Things are going well. There is energy between them. Conversations feel easy. Then, out of nowhere, she pulls back. The replies slow down. The warmth disappears. She is technically still there, but something is different. He feels it. And the moment he feels it, he does what almost every man does. He reaches. One more message, one more check-in, one more explanation, trying to close the gap she created. And here is the brutal truth. That reach, no matter how sincere, is the exact reason the distance grows. Not because she is cruel, not because he does not have value, but because that reaction tells her something she was not supposed to know yet. What does it tell her? That is what this entire video is about. Now, I want you to keep this question in your mind throughout this video. What does my reaction tell her about me? Because everything in male-female attraction comes down to what she reads from your behaviour. Not what you say, not what you feel. What she reads. And right now, before we break down the 4 smart moves, I want you to know something. If you have ever been in this situation ignored, confused, reaching you are not weak. You are just untrained. And by the end of this video, that changes. Let us go. Real quick, if you are new here, hit that subscribe button right now. Every week, we break down the psychology of attraction, self-mastery, and emotional discipline. This is the kind of content that changes how you see yourself and how others see you. Subscribe. You will not regret it. Point 1. Do not chase the silence, break the pattern. Let us start with the first and most important move. When she ignores you, your first instinct will betray you. Every emotional signal in your body is going to tell you to reach, to fix, to clarify, to do something. And that instinct, that caring, well-meaning instinct, is the thing that weakens you most. Because here is what she sees when you chase the silence. She sees a man whose inner calm depends on her response. Not a man who is driven. Not a man with direction. A man whose mood, whose stability is controlled by whether or not she replies. And once a woman sees that, once she feels the weight of your emotional dependence, the attraction shifts. Not slowly, fast. Most men believe that reaching out proves they care. And they are right. It does prove that, but how you care, that is what attraction is built on, or destroyed by. Here is what she already knows. She has seen this before. The double message, the emotional paragraph, the passive-aggressive, okay, I get it, the forced humour that still smells like pain. None of that surprises her. None of that makes her curious. None of that changes the emotional balance between you. It only confirms one thing. Her distance still controls your behaviour. Here is what the smart man does. He pauses. Not because he does not care. He pauses because he understands. He understands that the first goal is not to get her attention back immediately. The first goal is to stop behaving in the exact way she expects. To stop making your emotions so easy to read, so easy to hold over you, so easy to use as leverage. Remember that question I asked you to hold. What does my reaction tell her about me? When you chase the silence, the answer is simple. It tells her that her silence is more powerful than your peace. That is not the answer you want to give her. So you break the pattern. You let the silence stay unanswered, not out of coldness, not out of games, but out of discipline. And in that pause, something shifts. She is no longer just ignoring you. She is now noticing the absence of your reaction. She is now asking herself a question she did not plan to ask. Why didn't he respond the way I expected? That question alone can change everything. And I am going to show you exactly what happens inside her mind when that question starts forming. But first, point 2. Because without this, breaking the pattern means nothing. Point 2. Make your absence more powerful than any explanation. Most men think words will save them. If I just explain clearly enough, she will understand. If I just say the right thing, she will come back. If I write the perfect message, she will see my value. But here is what those explanations actually do. They close the loop. Every explanation you give her hands her certainty, and certainty is the one thing that kills psychological tension. When you explain yourself to a woman who is already ignoring you, you rescue her from the discomfort of not knowing. And that discomfort, that uncertainty about where she stands with you, that is the most powerful tool you have. Do not give it away for free. Think about it this way. When you pull your hand back from someone who is not appreciating it, they notice the absence far more than they ever notice the presence. Your constant availability was invisible to her. Your absence becomes loud. That is human psychology. We do not register what we have. We register what we lose. So when you stop explaining, stop chasing, stop filling the silence with effort, what you create is contrast. Before, she had access to your energy freely. After, that access is no longer automatic. And that contrast forces her mind to start doing something it was not doing before. It starts calculating. If this is connecting with something you have been feeling, something you have been trying to understand, then this channel is exactly where you need to be. Hit subscribe. Because what we are building here, this mindset, this self-mastery, it continues every single week. Do not miss the next one. Your absence tells her something no explanation ever could. Your attention is not an unlimited resource she can ignore without consequence. It does not attack, it does not accuse, it does not threaten. It simply changes the conditions. And when the conditions change, when the emotional environment around her shifts, her mind has to adapt. She starts wondering, was I wrong about where he stood? Did something change in him? Is his attention actually moving somewhere else? That wondering is where reverse psychology does its deepest work. Not through pressure, not through manipulation, through felt absence. So far, we have covered why chasing weakens you and why your absence speaks louder than your words. But here is what most men miss. Even when they understand those two things, they try to fake it. They go quiet, but their quiet looks like pain. It looks like waiting. It looks like a man who is silent, but not still. And a woman can feel the difference. That is point 3. And it might be the most important one. Point 3. Stay calm enough to become unreadable calmness is not weakness. Most men confuse stillness with surrender. They think that staying calm when she goes cold means they do not care, that it sends the wrong message. But here is the truth. Calmness is concealment of emotional dependency. When you stay genuinely calm, not performed calm, not forced calm, but real calm, she cannot measure your emotional position anymore. She cannot tell if you are hurt, done, occupied, detached, or simply no longer playing the same game. And when she cannot read you, her mind starts returning to you not because you begged for her attention, but because she cannot place you anymore. Here is what she is used to. She ignores a man, and almost immediately his behaviour starts leaking. He becomes more eager, more available, more obviously affected even when he tries to hide it. The hurt shows in the passive-aggressive response, in the sudden shift to cold, in the forced casual message that still smells like anxiety. She has seen it before. She knows what it looks like. And once she can still read your emotional dependence, clearly nothing changes. She never fully feels the shift. But when your calm is real, she checks the emotional temperature and cannot measure it. She looks for your reaction and finds stillness instead of chaos. She expects your energy to move toward her, and it does not. And now she is not just ignoring you. She is studying you. She is trying to figure out what changed. And I want to be clear about something. Real calmness is not the same as fake coldness. Fake coldness is easy to detect. Women are wired for emotional reading. If you are performing unbothered, she will feel the performance. Real calmness is quieter. It does not announce itself. It does not try to look powerful. It simply refuses to hand her the emotional reaction she expected. And in a moment, I am going to show you the fourth move that ties all of this together, the one that makes the silence do the work for you. But first, understand this. The man she cannot easily read is the man she cannot easily forget. That is not a game. That is psychology. Uncertainty creates mental return. Her mind keeps going back to the puzzle she cannot solve. Why did he not react the way I expected? And every time it goes back, your presence in her mind grows. Point 4. Let her feel the space you used to fill. This is where most men ruin everything, even when they have done everything right up to this point. They go quiet, they stay calm, they break the pattern. And then, the moment they sense she noticed, they rush back. They become eager again. They want to know it worked. They want to close the gap immediately. And in doing that, they erase everything the silence had built. Because the real power is not in getting a quick reaction. The real power is in letting her fully feel the difference between having your energy freely and not having it so easily anymore. Here is what most men never understand. When you are always there, always available, always replying, always keeping the emotional current alive, she does not have to measure your value. She just receives it, she adapts to it, takes it for granted, stops noticing it. But the moment you step back and step back, she starts feeling the empty shape of what used to be there. The missing certainty, the missing ease, the missing presence that quietly became part of her emotional landscape. And once she feels that space clearly, your value becomes more visible than it ever was while you were offering it constantly. I want to pause here and say something directly. If you are watching this and taking notes, you are already thinking differently than most men. That discipline, that willingness to learn instead of just react, that is exactly what this channel is built for. Subscribe, share this with a man who needs it, and let us keep going. let me bring you back to where we started. I told you there is a specific emotional shift that happens inside a woman's mind when a man stops behaving the way she expected. That shift has a name. It is called recalibration. Her entire understanding of the dynamic of your value, your emotional position, your availability has to rebuild itself from scratch, because the version of you she thought she understood is no longer behaving predictably. And that forces her mind to lean back toward you, not because you chased her, not because you explained yourself, but because you interrupted the story she thought she was watching. You became someone she could not predict. And unpredictability, when it comes from discipline and not from randomness, is one of the most powerful forces in human attraction. So let us put it all together. When she ignores you, move on, do not chase the silence. Break the pattern. Stop giving her the expected reaction and watch the power slowly return to your side. Move 2. Make your absence more powerful than any explanation. Stop rescuing her from the discomfort of uncertainty. Let the missing energy speak where your words would only weaken the tension. Move 3. Stay calm enough to become unreadable. Calmness is not weakness. It is the refusal to hand her a map to your emotional world the moment she creates distance. Move 4. Let her feel the space you used to fill. Do not rush back the moment you sense a reaction. Let the contrast do the work. Let the silence complete its message. And here is the final truth. Not every woman will come back. Not every silence will reverse everything. But the smart move is still the same because it protects the one thing you should never hand away so easily. Your center, your emotional discipline, your ability to remain calm when the connection stops rewarding your effort. Because before this changes her, it changes you. It stops you from becoming the man who confuses panic with love. It stops you from proving your value through desperation. And it makes your silence carry weight instead of weakness. When she ignores you, the move that changes everything is not forcing the connection back to life. It is becoming disciplined enough to step back, let the pattern break, let the silence speak, and let her feel what your constant attention used to protect her from. That is when she starts wondering. That is when she starts rethinking. That is when the man she ignored stops looking easy to manage and starts feeling different. And in female psychology, different is exactly what changes everything. If this video shifted something in your thinking, do not let it stop here. Subscribe to this channel. Every week, we go deeper into the psychology of attraction, masculine mindset, and emotional mastery. The men who grow the fastest are not the ones who feel the most. They are the ones who understand the most. Be that man. Subscribe, hit the bell, and I will see you in the next one.